me tell you kind of my plan for the day. It's pretty open, but I've got a few things on the list. I wanted to start by going over the survey results that you filled out a survey for me. I don't remember what it was. Thursday, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't know, something like that. Then I've got some practice problems. I want to just make sure that you're feeling really good with the wave words sheet that we did at the end of the day on Friday. And then I'm going to go over homework, any homework that you would like to go over. The reason that we're doing all of this is that we do have a quiz tomorrow. It's not going to be big and hefty and scary, I don't think. But you're going to want to know how to do this stuff. You're going to want to know how to do the wave words, right? Like, so this is all kind of prepping you for that quiz tomorrow. Does that make sense? If there's more time, I've got more stuff. I've always got more things we can do. But this is kind of what I'm anticipating we'll do for the day today. Okay? I wanted to start with the survey results because I think it's important for you to kind of see where everybody is at on the survey. And also, if there are things that you would like to add to the conversation, I would love to hear them. So my two kind of caveats that I'm going to throw in there. Number one, I think we're doing okay with the standards grading. Like, I'm getting better at it. I think we're all kind of getting better at it. But you're welcome. But, there's always learning to do. And that's why I ask you questions, is so that I can get better at what I'm doing. Also, number two is that, when I'm assigning you homework, this is like my first go at assigning homework in this textbook, right? It's a brand new book, so I'm still learning. So on the homework questions, on those comments, we'll talk about it as we go there. But I just want to kind of throw those two things in there. I'm going to see if I can zoom this in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. All right, so just take a look up here. Don't be distracted by other stuff. Pay attention and ask me questions. Add things if you want to. So reflecting on trimester 2, which of the following standards did you find most interesting? It's kind of an even spread here. The Newton's third law stuff got a extra little bit of shout out, which I like. I love Newton's third law, so I like the fact that you guys do as well. And then it looks like the work and power stuff, I don't know, where all of these things came from, like the types of energy, probably not super exciting. So that kind of makes sense to me. But yeah, just kind of a nice way to look. This was, I think, impulse and momentum here. And this one, I don't even know what that would have been. I can go look if we need to, but yeah. And then in terms of which ones did we find most challenging, I thought it was kind of interesting that it flipped a little bit. I'm not at all shocked that circular motion was on the high end, mostly because this was right after all of our snow days, right? This was like, oh my gosh, we need to get this done by the end of the try. So that one, we pushed pretty hard, and it's tough stuff. So I totally understand why that one may have been kind of perceived as extra challenging. I was a little bit surprised by the conservation of momentum having very, very few, honestly. And I don't know if that, because when we started that conversation, there were a lot of you that were like, oh my gosh. I don't know if part of that was because we had a bunch of snow days in between. And so you kind of like leave that from your brain, or because once we had those charts to set up our problem solving, it just kind of made everything easier. I don't know if one of those is the case. And if you guys want to give me some feedback on that, I would love to hear it. But anything on these kind of surprise you, or anything you want to observe from that before we keep cruising? Okay. Let's keep going down, because those ones are pretty, whoa, hi, what are we doing? Let's go this way, please. There we go. In terms of the grading system, I feel like I can see based on data that we feel like it's a pretty good thing, especially if you add in the I don't really think it matters. We've got, over 80% feeling like it's good. If you live in that 20% where you're really not loving it, I would love to talk to you about that. Right now would be fine, or any other time, because I don't want to put people in a situation where they're like, this is not working for me, right? I want to know more about that based on where you're coming from. So again, if you're part of that 17%, then please do feel free to talk to me anytime. I'm not going to read all of these, but so the question was, have your feelings about the system changed over the year? Please explain. Most of it was pretty positive, it's nice, but I don't just want to hear positive things, right? Positive stuff doesn't really give me pushes to change and to make things better. I've been thinking about this one here, where if you don't get a 6, then that means that you didn't get an A, right? And I will be completely candid with you. The 6 points was a completely arbitrary choice. It was because when I was writing quizzes, it felt like it was about 6 points and I needed a standard. Okay. I needed they all needed to be the same, which is not a very scientifically valid way to choose something, but that's the way I did it. I think I'll probably continue that on, mostly because if I make it bigger, then the quizzes have to be bigger. Does that make sense? And I feel like a slice that's about 6 points-ish gives me that opportunity. But if you feel like, wow, maybe it needs to be 10 points, or maybe it needs to be 8 points, let me know. Like, if you feel like that's something that would be a lot more helpful, I'm very happy to entertain that for sure. Let's see, when all the stuff is in. Yeah, so this is my, everybody has their challenge, right? My challenge as a teacher has always been to get things in on time. And new trimester, right? For you guys, it's a new trimester, fresh start. For me, it's a new trimester, fresh start. And I'm going to do my darndest to get stuff in on time. You guys can always call me on it or ask me. A little extra pressure sometimes doesn't hurt. Let's see. There was some good positive comments in there. Yeah. Well, and honestly, and I don't know if that correlates to someone who said, no, I don't like it. If it's like you have no idea where your grade is coming from, then I would love to help you understand it. Okay. Because to me, like as a teacher, I feel like it helps me to get a better picture of, yes, this person is getting this, or yes, everybody's getting this. People aren't getting this thing, as opposed to giving you a test over all of work, power, and energy in all of its forms. And some people get a D and some people get an A. Like, I don't have any idea where we're at. You know what I'm saying? So I like it for that, but I also want to make sure that you all feel like it's pretty clear. Oop, I don't know why that keeps doing that. We'll just use my finger. All right. So this one doesn't like show you the scale here. 1 was like yes or positive, and 5 was no or negative or something like that. How well do you feel the standards-based grading system benefited your opportunity to learn? So most of you said it was like a 1 or a 2, like it was pretty good. A couple people were feeling like it really didn't. Again, if this was you, there's no bad feeling there. Like, you're being honest, and I appreciate that. If you feel like it was because it's not easy to get an A, then I'm going to say good because I want you to earn an A. But if you feel like it's really not fair, or you feel like there's something really wrong, then I really would like to know that, okay? Because I want to make sure, again, this doesn't say benefit your grade. It says benefit your opportunity to learn, right? And that there's a fundamental difference there, right? And that gets into the homework stuff that we're going to get to in just a minute as well. Please explain your answer. So then I have a few people that are like, oh, I got a good grade or whatever. Yeah. And like, the whole point here is that grades are like the byproduct, right? I want you to understand physics. And I feel like this year, for the first time, and I've been teaching for more than 10 years, I feel like I can tell now if you guys are getting it or if you're really not, which is like, as a teacher, that's a really big deal to me. I like this. Like, it showed my true grade, right? It's not that I did a bunch of homework and, I got a bunch of gold stars. No, like, I actually get physics, and that's exciting. When I need to retake a quiz that I did poorly on, my grade is still in good shape. That's the kind of thing that like makes me feel good about what we're doing. Let's see. A lot of this is kind of similar comments of the same thing. I don't know who wrote this last one. If it was you, then let's talk, because I feel like there's some animosity there, and I would like to talk that out. Does that make sense? And sometimes you just have to do that, right? Like, sometimes you have to, and that's important. And I want that. But if this is you and you want to talk it out with me, like, I would super love that. Come visit me. Come tell me. Send me an email. Let's talk it out, yo. I like learning. Too. It makes me so happy. That's awesome. All right. Can I keep cruising? Is that okay?
No, I'm not done reading.
Oh, I'm sorry. The long one?
I'm going to read it too.
I felt like if you did bad on one small portion of a test, it was worth 6 points. You got a question wrong and your grade will drop a lot because of one small question. And people are always so stressed about taking a test or quiz because the teacher says it's not going to be hard or says that the sample question from class will be just like the one on the quiz. And then it's not. And that is true, right? If I gave you the exact same question over and over, then it would just be rote memorization. Yeah. And rote memorization does not equal problem solving. It does not equal good physics. You with me there? Yeah. So absolutely, it's hard for me to do this because I have to write new tests every time. And it's not just changing the numbers because that would be memorization and that's not what we want, right? And maybe that's the case. And you know what? Sometimes you just got to air it out. Yep, exactly, right? So, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about this person because they're trying to get some stuff out there, right? There's stuff that we learned in first semester or trimester, and honestly, who's going to remember that stuff? I also feel like if it's not going to be hard, if we get what we're learning, we get to a question we don't know, like it's all there. And I want to hold that, like I want to hold that person's opinion. I don't want to disregard it is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So no judgment, but I would love to help you all, whether you wrote this or whether you were thinking it and just didn't want to type that much. That's you. Like, let's get it figured out, friends. I want to work with you. Let's talk. Right. I would love it. Now, I don't have any names attached to this, right? So I have no idea who wrote that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And but I also don't want to like judge, right? Like maybe you're just having a bad day too. I don't know. All right. Unless they do it by alphabetical. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Or if it's like by student ID or whatever.
Mine's always
okay. Well, now I know. I was trying to like pretend like I didn't know.
I got a good grade.
And that was number 2 or whatever. Okay. So we know what Leanne's answers were now. All right. Here we go. Overall, do you think you took advantage of retakes? This I feel like has gone up since the last one, which I like. That's what I want, right? We're learning through doing and we're doing as we go. So yes, I'm glad that they're an option. Yes, only because my teacher or parent made me. I don't make you do anything. So maybe you have a pushy parent. I don't know. I don't even know how many people said that. But I don't know if it'll tell me. Oh, one person. So sorry if you have a pushy parent, or maybe it's great that you have a pushy parent because you need that. I don't know. Okay. Again, my friend here, I don't know who this is, but if that's you, let's talk because I want you to understand that system. I honestly, or maybe you just clicked it wrong. I don't know. No, because I don't do retakes. I don't like to do retakes. That's great as long as you do well the first time. Like I'm totally down with that. Like more power to you. Study the first time, right?
Nobody had purple.
Nobody said purple. So there you go. Everybody takes retakes. That's good. All right. Let's see. What's the next one? The extra practice stuff, I don't want to spend tons of time on this because we do have some physics we actually have to do today. The answers here were fairly positive. Okay. Now we know who Leanne is. Woohoo! Who is it? But overall, I think that the overall was yes. Yes, it was helpful. Yes, it was good. There were a couple people that were crabby because they didn't want to have to do extra work. My response to that is, if you didn't want to have to do extra work, then you should do the work before. You know what I'm saying?
I like extra practice rather than the homework.
Yeah.
Because sometimes homework is...
Well, and that's what the next one comes to. Oh, blah, 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 more lab, blah, blah. What's that? This question was any other information. Oh, that'd be sad. Like that's the best part of physics. Come on. I'm gonna skip these because it's not a surprise to me. I think it's pretty clear. The one thing that I would like to give you a friendly reminder on is that I do record every day, right? So if you're gone, especially in the spring as like things get busy and whatever, I do record every day. If you get home or you're somewhere and you can't find it, it probably means that I recorded it but haven't like put it onto our playlist. Just send me a note. Say, hey, where's the thing from such and such a day? And I will throw it, like I will click it's just a box that I have to click. I sometimes don't do that because it takes a while to get loaded. But I would strongly recommend that you utilize that if you're gone or if you need extra practice, right? Absolutely. That's a great resource. Reading the textbook is not always the most favorite thing ever, but remembering that there is a resource if that's something that you like if you need more help, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Having an alternative approach, always helpful. Okay, homework. So this is the reason that I pulled this up actually today. No judgment, right? I am giving you the opportunity to do homework. And as I said before, this is the first time that I'm assigning homework from this book. So sometimes the homework isn't good. Like, I totally get that. I strongly encourage you, though, during this beginning of the new trimester to be red and blue, okay? To start doing this, because the more that you do your homework, even if the homework is not exactly the same as a test or a quiz, it's going to get you ready in a way that not doing it doesn't. Okay? My 10.3% here, my 3 students said we had homework. Wait. Oh, that's...
No, that's
sorry. Oh, no. Okay, so nobody said that. Good. Okay. It wasn't required. Like, and I get this. There was a comment earlier, or maybe it's later, I can't remember, that from a student who is like a student after my own heart. And I want to tell you guys that this was me as a student. I was not the kid in class that always knew the answer. I was definitely not that kid. I was the kid that struggled and had to work and had to like do all the homework and all of that stuff. When I was in college especially, I had a lot of classmates who I loved. They were great people and I enjoyed working with them, but they were the kid that did not need to do homework ever. You know what I'm saying? The kid that just for them, like, duh, like, why would I do that? That's why we're doing it this way, okay? If you don't need to do it because you understand it, or if you open the book and you read the questions and you understand them and you're 100% sure, fine. But if then you have to go and do retakes, do you know what I'm saying? Then maybe you need to turn into the kid that does your homework for a while, okay? There's a difference. We didn't have to do it, and I didn't need to do it, and there's a difference. And part of being a upperclassman in high school is figuring out which kid you are. You see what I'm saying? Okay? A lot of us need to do homework even though we don't want to. So that's the point of my statement there. I don't know why it keeps moving over. It felt like extra work. Yeah, because it is extra work. That's what it is. That's by definition what it is. And again, I don't mean to be snarky. I just mean to be like, yes, absolutely. Okay. Some people were feeling, yeah, like the homework was great. Some people like the homework didn't really match. And that's, again, I'm working on that. And the more I do this, the better I will be. Yeah. Leanne's like, what did I say? But she does it, right? And that's good. Because then... is this when you're like in your like post-food coma or whatever? Anyway. And then you set some goals, and I appreciate your setting goals, and I did read through those, and that's all for you, because I don't know who needs to pay more attention, but I would say y'all need to pay attention, so that's good. Yeah, I have goals, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. Fine. That's great. All right. Given all of that information, anything else that you want to tell me right now about how we're doing moving forward for this try? Otherwise, we'll just keep cruising, and I'm cool with that too. Okay. We all learn. Learning is a part of the game, right? More 9.
48.
I don't know. I don't even know what 48 means. It's not. Is that like a? So, you said 9. Do you speak German, or you just like to pretend some days? Okay. You're supposed to learn German? Okay. Got one at a time. All right. So our plans for the day, we're going to work on a couple of practice problems just to make sure that we get it, because we didn't get to do this last time. Go through wave words, go over homework if you've done it, okay? And get ready for that quiz. Sound good? Sweet. All right. I pulled out 2 problems. I didn't type them up because you have books in front of you. So page 385. Say again? The homework? I'm gonna go over a couple of problems first, like separate problems, and then we'll look at homework. Does that make sense? All right. Oh my gosh. Number 1. All right, so turn your page.
You just have one finger.
My daughters have peel-off nail polish, and we painted our nails this weekend, and so these are the only 2 that haven't peeled off. So they'll peel off by the end of the day. Yeah. They were all like really funny, bright colors. It was kind of fun, you know. Not a lot of commitment, like not a big time commitment.
Yeah.
Don't have to use like nasty nail polish remover, all that kind of good stuff. All right, page 385, number 1. So take a look. Let's go. I want to do this one with you. I just want to make sure that this is making sense because, again, this is stuff that we kind of went through fast at the end of the day on Friday. So it says a piano emits frequencies that range from a low of about 28 hertz to a high of about 4,200 hertz. Find the range of wavelengths in the air emitted or attained by this instrument when the speed of sound is 340. So we have never done a problem like this. What's the first thing to do when you're doing a problem you've never done before? Oh, you guys are so good. It's like I've indoctrinated you well. All right. So what are your givens? What are the things that you know in this problem?
Frequency.
You know the frequencies. And what letter are we going to mark frequency with? An F. And it's a little f, not to be confused with the capital F that we use for forces, right? So it's a little f for frequency. And I think that they give us a couple of them, don't they? So maybe we'll label them like frequency 1 and frequency 2. The lowest of the frequencies is what? 28. And the units that go with that is hertz. So I just want to make sure this makes sense to you. This means that the air that moves when that note is struck, the air moves 28 times every second. Okay? So that crest and trough, well, actually it's a compression and rarefaction that move back and forth because it's a longitudinal wave. Okay? So just a little friendly reminder here. We're just going to write this down. You might want to write this down too. So it's a sound wave, which means that it's longitudinal. Which means that you've got that stretch out part and then that squeezy part and then that stretched out part and then that squeezy part. And we labeled those, right? Rarefaction. Oh, excuse me, this is compression. And then the stretchy out part is called the rarefaction. We're going over that because, you might need it tomorrow. That's why I'm just, I'm just looking out for you. Okay. So those compressions and rarefactions are happening 28 times every second. Because remember, hertz, 1 hertz is 1 over seconds. So it's, or you could say 1 cycle. Let me write it this way. Cycles per second. Okay? So it's 28 cycles every second. That's what hertz means. I just don't want you to be scared of the word because it seems kind of funny and different. That's a very low frequency. Okay? The highest frequency that the piano is emitting is way up there, 4,200 hertz. So that means that sound moves 4,200 times every second. That's very, very high frequency. You with me there? Yeah, very, very high frequency. All right. Find the range of wavelengths. So we want to know a wavelength. What letter is this?
It's Greek.
It is a Greek letter. Good call. We know the language of it. What's its name? Do you remember? It's on your yellow sheet. Lambda. Lambda.
We have to know that for test.
I mean, I'm not gonna ask you to say it. I'm gonna be like, okay, Sam, what is this letter? I'm not gonna come up and ask you that. But I am going to expect that you know what this is. And if you don't know the name of it, that's okay. But sometimes it's nicer to have a name with it. The thing you do need to know is that it represents the what? The wavelength of the wave, okay? And so we want to know the wavelength associated. So lambda is wavelength. I'm going to say lambda 1, and we want to know lambda 2. This is one of those sneaky problems where they're really doing 2 problems in one, right? Shake your fist or say, thanks, we get more practice. Either way is cool. They want to know the wavelengths of those waves. So that's the distance between compressions or the distance between rarefactions. Okay? As those waves move. If a higher frequency, what do you think that's going to do to the wavelength? Shorten it, right? If you have a lower frequency, it's going to make it bigger, okay? And the relationship between the two is the big equation for this section. Here it is. You have it written down on your yellow sheet, but let's write it down. V is equal to F times lambda. V is the speed of the wave. F is the frequency. And lambda is the wavelength. I can't remember if we talked about it on Friday or not, but this equation right here should not be scary to you. It might look scary because it's got like funny letters in it, but just to point out to you, just to make sure that this makes sense, I'm going to take you back to September. In September, we talked about speed, didn't we? How fast do things go? How do you calculate that? Distance over time, right? That's all well and good. For a wave, the distance that it travels in a cycle is the what? The distance it travels in one cycle. Look at your yellow sheet if you're not sure.
Oh, is that a period?
The distance.
Oh.
The distance that something travels. The distance that something travels. The wavelength. The wavelength is the distance that a wave travels in one period. Yeah. So the distance here is just wavelength. The distance that something travels in one period, and how long does it take for a period to happen? That's just, or two, I just gave it up, didn't I? The time it takes for one cycle is the period. Sorry, I totally gave that up. That was a little anticlimactic. I apologize. Silly me. Lambda over T. That's just another statement of this. You say, but wait, Miss Carveling, this green thing does not match your blue thing. Right? Shake your fist or something. Or you say, oh, but how are period and frequency related? Let's figure that out. Period is the time for one cycle. Frequency is the number of cycles in 1 second or some other time. So period is the time per cycle. Frequency is the cycles per time. How are these two related? Or are they related? Period is time per cycle. Frequency is cycles per time. Is this ratio similar to this ratio? They're reciprocals of one another. Yeah. So if we flip this over and it's time per cycle, then it's the same as this one. Right? Period is the reciprocal of frequency. Or you could say that frequency is the reciprocal of period. They're the exact same. This is the same statement, right? And if you know that frequency is 1 over period, and I have something over period here, then we can say that this is equal to wavelength times frequency. It all comes from the same place. The reason that I spend those 5 minutes there is not to confuse you. The reason that I spend those 5 minutes there is to hopefully make this thing less scary to you. Okay? Do you have a question? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. We're feeling okay? Cool. If you would like to ask questions or if you would like to get clarification, I would love to help. But this is the equation. I just wanted you to know where it came from. Let's come back and do the problem. We know the frequency. We want to find the wavelength. What else do we need to know? The speed. Do we know the speed? Oh. You knew that, didn't you? Because you did the little snapping game. It was about 340, 330, something like that, right? Yeah. The speed of sound that you found when you did your snapping was about 300 and something, right? Hopefully that's what you got. Yeah. So that's what you're going for. So here we go. V equals F times lambda. If I want to solve that for lambda, what do I do, friends? Divide by F. Lambda equals V over F. So for the first one, lambda 1 equals 340 meters per second divided by 28 hertz. If you don't have a calculator out, you should totally get one. If you do have a calculator out, you should plug it in. Everybody loves a calculator. So 340 meters per second divided by 28 hertz. What'd you get? 12.1. Oh. 12.14 meters. Do you guys agree with her? Mm-hmm. Yeah?